Hello there. Welcome back to the R.M.Williams Outback podcast, where we shine a light on all the absolutely fantastic things that are happening and the fantastic people away from the bright lights of our cities. We focus on the 3 R's of Australia. That's remote, rural and regional. We're just like the beautiful R.M.Williams Outback magazine, except for your ears. I'm Terri Cowley, one of the journalists on the magazine and also your podcast host. Settle in with us and you'll get to meet some really great people, and I don't mean me. Have a question? Find out more at outbackmag.com.au. Allan Hood was born in Scotland and spent much of his career working for some of the world's premium alcohol brands in places like Jamaica, Tanzania and the Middle East. But about 12 years ago, he had the opportunity to change all that and emigrate to Australia to work for one of our oldest dairy companies. You'd know Bulla for the frozen yogurt, creams and cottage cheese you see in the supermarket aisles. But probably what Bulla is best known for is its ice cream. Today, Allan is the CEO of Bulla, and one of his chief current projects is bringing online a new ice cream factory. Welcome to the podcast, Allan.
Hi, Terri. Great to be with you.
That work sounds like something you might say in the 3rd grade. When I grow up, I want to work in an ice cream factory. Did you ever think you'd be doing something like this?
Absolutely. I hadn't. No. As you said in your introduction, I spent the majority of my career working in the alcohol industry. So, one, didn't think I'd end up in Australia, and 2, didn't think I'd end up in ice cream. So, I hadn't quite anticipated it.
Fair enough. I should explain how I came to the story of Bulla. Bulla has had a 10-year relationship with R.M.Williams. R.M.Williams, of course, being the owner of Outback magazine, which I work for. Can you explain how that relationship came about and what R.M.Williams does for Bulla?
I absolutely can. You know, our partnership with R.M.Williams is now in its 10th year. Yeah. It began as a part of a broader cultural transformation that we were trying to achieve at Bulla. You know, we were really trying to, embed a high performance culture. And as part of that, we had an initiative called Belonging at Bulla. Yeah. And that was a program that was designed to foster pride, unity, and identity across all of our Bulla sites, But at the time, we had updated our Bulla branded logo, but many team members were still wearing the old uniforms with the old branding. We didn't have any consistency across our locations. And I saw an opportunity to unify the workforce visually and culturally. And Colac, which is Southwest Victoria, is our heartland. We do have offices and manufacturing sites across Victoria, but that's really where the heartland is. We've got deep roots, and our team members there have always worn the brand with pride. But we'd noticed in the community other employers starting to make their branding more visible, and I knew that we needed to do something differently. So rather than opting for a sort of generic uniform solution, we sought out, 10 years ago to partner with a brand that I felt would be more aligned with our values, a company or organization that could offer co-branded apparel for our team that they would genuinely want to wear. Yeah. As a sign of pride, as a sign of identity. And R.M.Williams was the automatic first choice. The reputation for quality, their appeal to both men and women, and most importantly, is a strong connection to regional Australia, made them the natural fit for us, Terri.
How has the collaboration worked out, and what does it look like in the field?
It's worked fantastically well. We launched this 10 years ago by, at the start, just gifting all employees a co-branded R.M.Williams polo shirt. I'm wearing one today. And our salaried staff also receive an allowance of about $350 for every couple of years that they can spend on branded clothing. And I have to say the response was not only immediate, but it was overwhelmingly positive. And overnight, we saw the new logo was just visible across the business, to the extent now that everyone's wearing it. It's not mandatory. You don't have to wear it. But I joke with my team and with others, I don't have any other branded clothing other than R.M.Williams now. But it's really visible across the business. We've got the formal corporate wear, polo shirts. Importantly, all staff members can wear it. But equally, we allow choice. People take great pride in it. At most of our customer-facing meetings, my team will turn up, including me, in our R.M.Williams gear. It's the co-branding, I think, that really works. We even have, to the extent now, Terri, that when we have new starters and we tell them about our relationship with R.M.Williams, it feels like a first day at school almost, that new starters, they're just so keen to get the R.M.Williams gear. And it feels like when there is a wardrobe refresh, as we call it, it's in people's diaries, And equally what's been important for us at Bulla is we've now extended that offer in partnership with R.M.Williams to our farmers. We have, over 270-ish individual families supplying Bulla. All of our farmers are either given Bulla clothing, R.M.Williams gifting, and they also have access to some of the discounted purchases as well. But like us, they wear it as a sense of pride, focused on quality, pride, history. Really reinforces one of our core company values, which is we are family. And we see our farmers as an extension of our brand. They're an integral part of our business. And we wanted them to feel part of the Bulla story. So, I look at it, the impact on our teams and the impact on our farmers. It's had a profound impact. It's warm with a sense of pride. And I often get asked whether I'm traveling or going through security screening at airports about, wow, I love your ice cream. And then people comment, oh, I love your R.M.Williams gear as well. So it's a double benefit.
I was going to ask you about the 270 individual family farms that supply milk to you a bit later, but you've mentioned them now. Let's bring them into the conversation. You are obviously, I've seen photos of you out on farms, so that's definitely something that you do. Tell me a bit more about those farmers. Who are they? And I was going to say what they do. I think we know what they do. They produce milk, but tell us a little bit more about those farmers.
Bulla does not own the farms. They're all individually contracted to Bulla. They're all small family businesses. They're spread across the southwest Victoria, up into the north of Victoria, and also in the southeast in Gippsland. So we've got a very strong geographical diverse approach. So we've got milk spread across the region. All of our farmers are in Victoria. We've not yet, branched out of Victoria. They're all family businesses. They're all hardworking. They're honest. They're good people. They're very loyal. But we also recognize, Terri, that it's a tough life. It's 365 days a year, and it's not easy. And they, particularly in Victoria last year, have been severely impacted by adverse weather. The drought last year has had a significant impact across the region, and that's something that we've been working with our suppliers on. As we've turned into this year, the weather certainly of late has started to improve. There's a decent amount of rainfall across the state, which is good. Pricing has increased since last season, which is also good for our farmers. So, we try, and our teams try and spend as much time as they can out with farm. I've got a very good farm services team that are out there connected to our farmers. We run farmer forums at least 2 to 3 times a year, where we're out at the local foodie clubs, bowls clubs, talking about Bulla performance, getting feedback on what's working, what's not. And then more importantly, what everyone loves is what's happening from a new product point of view. What launches are coming, what new flavors you've got. And we more than often use our farmers as a bit of a test base, or guinea pigs, as I call them, for for stuff that's coming out to get their feedback, new flavors, etc. And they love that. They love being part of the story, But we do acknowledge that it's tough, and it's been a tough season last year, and we faced into some challenges together. And we just pride ourselves on that, open, honest family relationship. And I think over the years that we've built a good relationship with our farmers. Never take it for granted, but we've worked hard on that.
Tell me about your manufacturing in Colac.
Well, Bulla's been in Colac, the best part now of like 90 odd years. Yeah. We employ the best part of 900 people, say. We're one of the major manufacturers stroke employers in the region. As it stands today, we have 2 manufacturing sites. We have our ice cream and frozen plant, as we call it, which is on Murray Street, and that's been there for circa 90 years. We also have our chilled factory, which is up at Forest Street at the other end of Colac. So that's our 2 main sites. Equally in Colac, we have our innovation centre, which I liken to the Willy Wonka part of Bulla. That's where all the new product development, testing happens. And we also have some of our dairy assets up there. So our milk receiving area, our sort of processing, milk separation plant, etc. And that's as it is today. But we're really excited by the fact that we're about to launch and open our new ice cream factory, which is also up at Forest Street, and that is due to go live roughly around the first week of November. Hopefully, it's on track, on full at the moment, and we're really excited by that. It's going to be the newest ice cream factory in the Southern Hemisphere. It's going to give us new capacity and new capability, and it's been in the making for a good couple of years. Our teams have done an incredible job to bring it to life. We have used all local contractors where we can, but it's going to be a major statement of Bulla and the local Colac area and our investment in the future of dairy in Victoria.
So this new factory, will it mean new products, more products, or both?
It's both. Yeah. It gives us 2 things. One is it gives us increased capacity. We had some capacity constraints at our existing factory, which we call Connor Street in Colac. It's actually on Murray Street, but we call it Connor Street. That's the postal address. So that it gives us new capacity, but equally it gives us new manufacturing capability. Ice cream is a very competitive marketplace, and we need to have new products with new capability to be able to compete both here in Australia and internationally. So the new factory gives us both, which, as I said, we're really excited about.
Now, you saw your market really grow in the COVID years, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. COVID was tough on everybody. And for any of your listeners in Victoria and Melbourne in particular, they know what I'm talking about. It was tough trying to run a business, keep people safe, keep the business running. But our business grew. And the primary reason for that was there's more Australians at home, whether that was cooking, which impacted our chilled business, kids at home baking, huge uplift in volume. But equally in ice cream, more and more people were at home with not much else to do. Eat ice cream, as simple as that, And, volume sales in ice cream have softened a little, if you pardon the pun, since pre-COVID. Expect that. But, our chilled business continues at higher levels, And so we, at that end of the business, we have benefited, during and from COVID. But we also recognize, how tough it was on everybody, not only consumers, but tough on our workers as well. Our factory staff in regional Victoria, they didn't get to work from home, and it was these team members, their dedication and their commitment that kept the place running, both in terms of our factories and also at a distribution centre in Derrimut. That just kept the wheels and the engine running, which they did a fantastic job. So we're severely indebted to these team members that kept the business running and alive and prosperous during these difficult times.
You've been to the R.M.Williams factory.
I have, yes.
Obviously, making boots and apparel is very different to what you do in food products, but do you see similarities?
I absolutely. My visit there last year was incredible to see, because very similar. in terms of culture of the organization. But what I also saw was the focus on quality and care, the focus on safety of staff members, which is, paramount for organizations like ourselves. But I also experienced at the factory the amount of sort of care at every step of the process. Yeah. Everyone takes responsibility in what they do. It's handmade, handcrafted. It's made with care, made with passion, a real focus on quality. And that's Bulla to a T as well. That's what our team do, and people do their jobs and they work hard, but they enjoy what they do. And it's on the bedrock of our very, very strong culture, and really enjoyed our time there and love working with the R.M.Williams team. They're great to partner with, but they're also good fun. We're very much for a relationships-based organization at Bulla, and we have a lot of fun with the R.M.Williams team. And at the end of the day, that speaks volumes for I think the talent and capability and the culture of the team that R.M.Williams have. It's very, very similar to ours.
Now, you recently sent some ice creams to the R.M.Williams factory.
We did, yes, as a way of saying thank you.
Yeah, I'm still disappointed they didn't make their way to the Outback team.
Yeah, no, Beck and Morhana with my guy at my work, Adam Barrett, who manages a relationship on my behalf. They had worked miracles, and we had said that we try and reward them and bring them closer into the Bulla business by arranging for some, I think it was chalk tops and ice creams that went down. And I'm sure for the teams it was a logistical nightmare to manage, but it was a very special way of Bulla saying thanks to the R.M.Williams team for everything that you guys do, and sharing the quality of what we do and we make with pride and care with your teams.
So like R.M.Williams, Bulla has a really interesting family history.
It does. So Bulla is now 105 years young, I guess. We are still family-owned, private business. We are owned by the same three founding families. We're into our, I think, sixth generation of that family ownership. There's very few, family-owned, Australian-owned dairy businesses left in Australia. And we're proud of that. It's a business that's been built on the legacy of the family and the contributions of the founding families, and that remains today. The three families still own Bulla. Family members work in the business. As a CEO, I'm not family. I'm only the second non-family CEO, but cherish my role. I love working with the family members. It's their business. Respect what they've done. And my role is pretty simple: is be able to pass it on to the next generation. And our current thinking and plan is that it will always remain a family business. Very competitive world out there in dairy, but we are rooted in being a family-owned and Australian-owned business.
How is your industry going at the moment? Despite demand for your products, there must be a lot of challenges.
Look, that's a very, very good question. I think it's fair to say that businesses like ours, I'm sure R.M.Williams are no different. The cost of doing business is exceptionally high, whether that be from utilities, energy, electricity, people costs, packaging materials, chocolate in our ice cream, is at an all-time high. So the cost of doing business is really high and challenging. And, Bulla is predominantly domestic business, both across retail and food service. 95% of our business is in Australia, 5% overseas. And, it's fair to say that for the last, couple of years, the domestic economy on the whole has been doing it tough as well. And so you've got this dilemma of high cost of manufacturing in an environment that is, with an inflation environment and the cost of living crisis that you see across Australia. It's been a challenge. It's been a tough period. And certainly in some of the categories that we compete in, and take ice cream as an example, there's a lot more imported ice cream on shelf today than there ever has been. And that poses a real challenge for us because, in a tough economic climate, maybe consumers are less worried or they don't know where their product comes from. It's up to branded businesses like ours to tell consumers that our products are made in Australia, family owned, Australian owned, made with fresh milk and cream. Many of our competitors don't make it with fresh milk and cream, but that's the reality of what we're dealing with. And we have to face into that. Equally, in certain channels, the cinema channel is an example where our iconic Chalk Top, sells. The cinema channel has really struggled, not only during COVID, but post-COVID, as, consumers do things differently. It's more at home streaming, I guess, less people going to the cinema. And then equally through the food service business, whilst there's still some big events across the major cities, on the whole, less people going out to restaurants, or if they are going out, they're spending less. So it's quite a competitive, tough environment out there. But that said, I think many Australian businesses are facing into the same challenges. I know many of our farmers are facing into, similar challenge, albeit they've got to deal with adverse weather, with a severe drought last year, at a time last year when pricing was relatively lower. Pricing has come back this year. Hopefully conditions will continue through spring with some pretty heavy rainfall, and set them up for the rest of the season. But, it's been tough. There's still some green shoots and new markets, new opportunities, new channels, new occasions, both in domestic and internationally. And then hopefully, as well, as I said, with our new factory coming on board, that's going to give us new products. I've talked a bit about ice cream, but equally in chilled, we're the number one, branded cream in Australia, thick and cream. We've got a fantastic portfolio right through our sour cream, our creme fraiche. And then, we've seen our cottage cheese business continue to grow.
Cottage cheese is having a moment.
On fire.
You're lucky to get any when you go to the shops.
Exactly. Well, and that's just one of the trends, the real focus on consumers on protein. There's only a few manufacturers in Australia of cottage cheese, us being one. We were out of capacity for most of the year. As in we can't produce any more. We've done everything we can. We've just recently started a small expansion that will hopefully come live, at the turn of the year, that we've got more capacity to put back into the market because it's just fantastic product, fully focused on protein. And that consumer trend at the moment is just incredible. We've benefited from that, but it does pose challenges. As you said, Terry, it's, if it's out of stock on shelf, then consumers get annoyed and then customers get annoyed at us. So, we've been working very hard to try and keep it in supply.
You mentioned the cinema channel.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to deal with, is it Hoyts?
Yes. Yeah. We partner with Hoyts and have done for many years, both not only in their outlets, we've got a range of Chalk Tops, but just recently we've partnered with them to launch a product, co-branded product between Bulla and Hoyts in retail stores. And again, that's just recognizing that, many consumers are having the cinema occasion at home. Yeah. In the living room, whether it's Netflix or Disney Plus, whatever. And that partnerships, that's worked very well, but we are working with Hoyts and others now on, they will recover. They'll have plans to get footfall back through their cinemas, and how can we be a big part of that?
The old Chalk Top is so nostalgic.
It is. It's an icon. It's made out of our factory down in Dandenong, which is sort of southeast of Melbourne, I think. And, small team, small factory, but great product, iconic product. Fresh to Australia 12 years ago, I heard about this phenomenon called a Chalk Top and what is it? And, for the majority of time up until COVID, it was only ever sold in cinema channels. Yeah. We had worked with a couple of the retailers during COVID to sell Chalk Tops in retail in partnership with them, which enabled us to keep our factory running during a difficult time with the cinema channel being decimated and closed on the whole. And that worked very well. So now we've got Chalk Tops both in retail. We've got Chalk Tops in many convenience stores such as 7-Eleven. And we're still very strong in our partnership and relationship with Hoyts.
And certainly when I was growing up, I think there was vanilla and that was it, but not now.
No, there is an array of flavors, and there's a lot more to come as well.
Can you give us an exclusive, Allan?
No, I am not allowed to give away any secrets, unfortunately. Watch this space. But yeah, look, we're trying to bring innovation to a category that has been struggling because of COVID. And then if you think there was I think the producer strike in the US that had a knock-on impact on, less big blockbusters coming through last year. So, but it'll come back and we're going to be part of it. But how do we get a bit more innovative? Not only have we got the sort of the Bulla brand, but we also have some very strong licensed brands under our portfolio. So how do we perhaps leverage them and bring that to life in that channel? That's going to be exciting. So yeah, watch this space.
I'm sure I'm really stuck on the ice cream factory. You probably gathered by now. What is it really like to work in an ice cream factory? Can you give me a bit of an audio tour? I mean, you referenced Willy Wonka earlier, and that is sort of the fantasy we all have that, you open the gates and there's going to be chocolate rivers. And I mean, do you have any Oompa Loompas?
No, we don't, unfortunately. But there's a bit of a difference between our existing factories and the new one. Yeah, obviously the new one is more state of the art. It's more linear. There's still people, but there's less of them. But if you walk through Connor Street at Colac, we've got multiple lines, different scales of and types of production, and running from tubs to multi-packs. It's a sort of concrete warren. It's a 90-year-old building, so the community has grown up around it, and so the experience of walking through it is very different, but you will get a sense of focus on quality, focus on the safety of our team, focus on the care and passion of the product that every single member of staff has. There's also a lot of noise, Our factory staff love to have the radios on. So there's always a real buzz and excitement around the place. People work hard. There's hopefully not too much sitting around because there's, a lot to do. And I envisage when we get to walk through the new factory, it'll be the same, albeit brand new. A new site, as you'd expect in today's world, is much more efficient, bigger, a lot more automation. But we still employ people. We need people to run it. We need good people. We need people with the same values, the same focus on quality, the same focus on their own personal safety and the safety of their team members. So aspects of that don't change. Yeah. Albeit the stainless is brand new, but many of the attributes that you'd see across the factories are very similar. But there is no Oompa Loompas and there's no chocolate river running through it.
No, how disappointing.
Yeah, but look, we do up at our innovation center. We've got a very small pilot lab, which is where we do test things.
I was going to ask you, is there taste testing?
Yeah, there is. Oh, absolutely. That's a given. We've got an internal tasting team. I think I'm sure they've got a more sophisticated title than what I've just given them. But yeah, like a panel, and they taste all flavors. They're experts. They've got the right palate. They know their ice cream.
What's the right palate?
Probably not mine, because I think everything's great. So, those that can, determine if a flavor's got the right balance or things, but that's a dedicated team. We also do new sampling with external research as well, as you'd expect. We bring samples into the office, and this week we've got our board meeting on Wednesday, and we'll bring 2 or 3 of the new flavors that we're planning to launch to them. There's a couple of experts on the board that know their ice cream pretty well and can tell if something's on cue or not. So it's a big part of us, and there's a big bit of fun around the office when the teams are tasting things, and I joke with my R&D team that I always seem to be in the office when they're doing the ice cream tasting. So I'm always hovering, asking for what's that, and give me a piece, and can I have a taste? But as I said, my palate's maybe not the best from an R&D point of view because I just love everything. So, but it's a big part. Research and development is a huge part of our business. Innovation has been the heart of Bulla for years, over the generations. Whilst you've got vanilla and chocolate and strawberry as your core, but the way the world is now, there are so many new variants, so many new flavors, so many things on trend that you have to really work hard to stay on top of that. And our R&D team and our product innovation teams do a fantastic job on that, trying to tap into, insights from all over the world about what flavors are on trend and formats, etc.
Some flavors we haven't yet thought of, perhaps, or don't yet exist.
Yes, there is. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you look at, the demographics within Australia, what's that future look like? Will there be changes in the taste profile and the flavor preferences of consumers? Inevitably there will be. So how do you, everybody loves vanilla. And I think we make the best vanilla ice cream in Australia. So very proud of that. But, it is about being on trend and on, what's coming, what's new, what's happening overseas. Obviously that US and Europe are big markets. How do we stay on top of that and look at the trends?
And you mentioned the high protein cottage cheese. There's a fair few high protein ice creams out there too now.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, no, and we're looking at that. It's trying to get the right balance. There's almost so many projects you can do. But yeah, there's more of that on shelf. The protein trend is just incredible at the moment. So I'm not surprised that people have jumped on that. And it is something that we are looking at. Again, watch this space.
So ultimately, from where you sit now, Allan, do you see a bright future for Australian manufacturing and the dairy industry?
That's a very good question. I hope there is. It's an amazing industry, amazing people, but it's not without its challenges. And it would be remiss of me to ignore that, Australia has a declining milk pool. Yeah. It's a challenge that we all face into. We all want a sustainable and growing milk pool. Yeah. But in the context of the economic environment, in the context of the cost of doing business, it's a challenge, but, and I can say this now, and I'm now a proud Aussie citizen, but when I came out here 12 years ago, I kind of looked at it and thought, Australia is sitting on an absolute goldmine of natural ingredients, resources. Of milk is one of them. And, I look across the pond to New Zealand and they've got their act together. Australia, I think, needs to kind of look at itself. Certainly in dairy, my opinion, there's been a lot of infighting, there's a lot of competition. Frankly, it needs to sort itself out and start to put investment in and grow the milk pool and look to, sell that amazing product that we have both domestically and internationally. I do a lot of travel through Asia. I'm proud to represent Bulla at many international forums across predominantly Asia and into China. And that consumer base loves Australian dairy. Fresh, clean, green, locally made with care, made with compassion, focus on quality end to end. And I look at that and go, there is huge opportunity there for the taking. For us as an Australian dairy business, you have to invest. You have to invest to stay ahead. You have to now start to develop sustainable packages because sustainability is now a big thing. You've got to take that serious. And I think in my experience, some businesses have had their head in the sand a little bit for a bit too long now, but that's coming and we can't ignore it any longer. So I think if we get the right focus, the brands are there, the assets are there, the people's there, if the investment's there, hopefully our economic environment will improve, that costs will come down, consumer confidence comes back, businesses like ours, can continue to thrive and be in a sustainable family business. But it's not without its challenges. But, I just look at the positives that we have and then look ahead and go, we're sitting on a gold mine, frankly. And I think collectively as an industry across, farmers, processors need to work together on how do we grow that milk pool such that we can continue to share it not only domestically, but share it with the world.
Fantastic. Well, that's a positive note to end on. I want to wish you all the best with the new ice cream factory. And please do, if any vacancies come up in that testing team, just let me know.
There is a long waiting list.
I bet. Well, thanks so much for talking to me, Allan. And as I said, all the best.
No, thank you very much, Terri. Really appreciate your support and your time today.
Hi, Terri back again. I really hope you enjoyed that episode of the R.M.Williams Outback podcast. So we can continue to do what we do, please hit the plus button and subscribe to the free podcast so you'll know when new episodes drop. Oh, and please tell a friend who you think might like it. We'd also love to welcome you to the Outback Magazine family, so grab a copy every second month at your local newsagents or contact us directly and we'll have the latest edition sent to you anywhere in Australia with free postage. As I said at the outset, it's all at outbackmag.com.au. Don't be a stranger, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.